Hope you guys didn't miss us too much. We both were with our men last weekend. All right, I mean, can we talk about all of the Jan 6 pardons? So, for anyone who doesn't know, Trump did pardon, was it 1,500 or so? Exceeding?
16.
Yeah, people who were participating in the January 6th riot at the Capitol Hill. That includes violent offenders. That includes people who attacked police officers, which is another thing that he says should be a death penalty case.
The woman who kept harassed and pushed women who were walking into abortion clinics found 5 fetuses in her home. 5 fetuses. I'm just saying, if you think that Trump cares about your loved one in prison, you are sorely mistaken. We already said this. The day he got elected, private prison stock already went up almost 50%.
Oh my gosh, it literally feels like we're falling backwards into like a time warp.
Welcome to 1950.
Okay, I have a really fun game that we can play. It's called How Quickly Is My County Going to Deny My Jury Summons?
Okay.
I literally got summoned for jury duty, y'all, and I got a questionnaire that I have to fill out and send back. How quick are they going to say, we don't want you to come in? The first question, like all of them are, have you or anyone close to you been convicted of a crime or other than a traffic violation? Would you believe, would you be more likely to believe the testimony of a police officer or other law enforcement because of his or her job? No, babe. No, babe.
They get paid to make stuff up. Come on.
Like, no, if anything, I believe you less. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hello? I have the funniest questions are on here. It's like, has anyone close to you ever worked in law enforcement or the justice system? Do you
God,
have
I would
any
fail
religious...
miserably.
Huh?
I would fail miserably already. I would say I would not do what they want me to do on just those 3 questions right there.
There's 16 questions and they're all specific to me, and a lot of them are very identical to Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And do I have any religious, moral, or ethical beliefs that would prevent me from sitting in judgment or a criminal case? Yeah, actually, because like I do. So don't even bring me in, y'all. This is the 3rd time I've been summoned for jury duty. Federal jury duty I got summoned for, but then they didn't call me. I was bummed about that. I was like, that would be fun. And I got picked for one jury before, and that was a boring case, so that wasn't anything exciting. But those were both before my relationship with Joe, so I'm pretty sure that completely just disqualifies me from the running. So unfortunately, I don't foresee myself being chosen.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I got picked for a federal DEA case. And it was a very interesting experience. I was actually the alternate juror, which is good, but not good in a sense, because I had to sit through the entire week-long trial.
But don't get to do anything.
And then when they went to go deliberate, I was out. But I didn't have to sit there and deliberate. That's the fun I was let go early. So it was actually...
For me, I'm such a debater, and like I'm so passionate about, like, that would be the fun part for me. So for me, that I'd be pissed. I'd be like, no.
Yeah, like I just sat through all this for what? I get that part. But it was very interesting, I will say, to be on a jury if you've never had jury duty. Granted, this was like, I want to say like 2007, 2008 maybe. And
I was in one that was in 2012 probably. Okay. I was on it, and we went through the whole court case, and then we went and deliberated, and we very quickly made our decision. And then it was interesting because afterwards, when the judge sent everyone out and it was just us and the judge, he explained how I guess that this case had been in his courtroom like 2 months before, and he ruled it the same way, but then they appealed it and it went to a jury trial. So he like basically said that he had already ruled the way that we agreed. And I was like, that's interesting how they...
Wow.
And then he hand wrote us I got a card in the mail 2 weeks later from the judge, hand signed, saying thank you for being a juror. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's sweet. I think that those little touches,
I love that.
You remember that kind of stuff,
Today I still remember it.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, like, I ended up, I was still was started just started teaching, and maybe it was, no, because I started teaching in 2010, so it had to be like 2011 or 2012, somewhere in there. And I got paid to be on jury, and then I also got my salary, which
Me
was
too. Yep, that's what
bonus,
they're
right?
supposed to do.
Yeah. And then I got to meet, like, there were other teachers on the jury, which was nice. We got to go to
Yeah,
lunch, our hour lunch break. Like, it
yeah.
was actually a really cool experience. And what's really cool about jury duty is you see the courtroom on TV. But like me personally, I've never been to a courtroom like for anything. So I was just
Not
sitting there going,
me.
it's just it's just like the shows. It's just like Law and Order. It's just like,
You're funny.
I'm gonna be old, like LA Law. Like it's just like that. And so it's kind of interesting to see, like, somebody had their first, like, when one of the lawyers had their first, like, objection. I was like, oh, an objection, an objection.
You're talking to someone who's been to court over their child and been to court for domestic violence cases. Not even myself. I did my internship with a domestic violence center in my area, so I'm like, that all was. I was like, yeah, that was cool the first time I saw that with all of them, especially being on like that side and like fighting it. But after that, I was just kind of like, you kind of see the system and how it just moves the same way every day, and it kind of makes you more sketch, if anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I just had to share that because I was like, I don't know who or why they pulled my name again, but I'm sure that they're gonna run this through their system and automatically deny me. So I
Yeah.
won't even have to probably go in this time.
I will say this. This is the perk of being a prison wife. They don't want
I'm
you
a
because
weirdo.
you obviously have empathy and sympathy,
I'm a
and
weirdo though. I want to, like, I always, like, when I got picked for jury duty before, I wanted to do it and I wanted
yeah,
to be a part of it. So like I'm like of the small percentage that like it's kind of bummed I don't get to be a part of the justice system because like I'm like I would bring my empathetic and
hmm,
unbiased opinions, but they would think that because I am married to someone
yes,
incarcerated that is not a thing that I will bring. So
yeah,
also, everyone, please don't mind me if you're on YouTube, you see me and you can tell that I'm sick. You can probably maybe hear it in my voice too. I am getting over the flu. I think it is the bug. I don't know. Yesterday I was strapped to my bed all day, y'all. I literally, I passed out back in my bed at 8:30, and then I woke up at like 5, and then
dang,
I took NyQuil at 10 and somehow still passed out and then slept until like 8 this morning. So now I'm kind of functional. I couldn't even move yesterday. My bones hurt so bad, and my head was so full of snot, but now the snot is at least running out of my
yeah.
nose.
That's good. It's
So
coming out.
yeah, so I'm going to be probably muting a few times, and I'm sorry that you have to hear congested Paige, but it's better than no Paige. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, as soon as I got on, I was like, Paige, you go hard, because she was blowing her nose as soon as I hopped on, and I was like, you go hard, because clearly I could tell. Like, I mean, you don't look sick. Like, I even said, like, I was impressed,
I think I
but
do.
just hearing you blow your nose, I was like, yeah, she's not feeling good, poor baby. So
I think I look, and I couldn't leave everyone hanging because we had 1 week off, and I mean we had so many things we wanted to talk about too. So I'm like I'm
oh
here,
yeah.
I'm ready to go.
All right, guys. Well, here we go. Sick or no, we're here. Rain, shine, runny nose, we got you. Well, welcome to episode 43 of Love Within Walls, a prison wife podcast. And I'm your friendly host, Gigi here. And I'm here with the lovely, beautiful.
Sicky, your friendly host Paige here. Hope you guys didn't miss us too much. We both were with our men last weekend.
We hope we.
Yay!
Paige had her family visit. I had a contact visit with Big Mike. And we had, obviously, if you go to our Patreon, we talk all about it. And it was a great time. And yeah, that's kind of why with the holiday, it kind of turned to be just a good weekend, just to take off, not to try to overdo it, because I know for Paige, traveling across from coast to coast is already a lot, and it was a lot for her, poor thing. So thank goodness we did not record
Yeah,
her, with the snowstorms and the layovers. It was
I
just a
I
lot
went
for
full
her.
out bitch mode on that on the Patreon. I won't do it again here. I'll save everyone here. So if you want to hear me bitch about my horrible travel experience and how much I hate flying from 60-degree weather to 6-degree weather, just tune in over there. But my family visit was amazing, and I had the best time with Joseph. And we literally just spent the whole time cuddled up watching TV. We got to watch SNL together. We got to watch the Eagles whoop some butt and
Yes.
win, and that was amazing. And I have a new nickname because he always talks about how I'm such a clinger to him when we're at our visits, which is so true. But now I'm a koala, is what he calls me, because I literally just cling and I like don't let go. And like when he gets up to like cook food, I'm sitting on the bed. I'm like, like with my big eyes like that. He's like, stop doing that. I can't
He can't
resist. And I'm like, well
resist.
then come.
He's the bamboo and you are the koala.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. But before we do, let's go ahead and talk about our sponsor, Beyond Bars Imaging. And I wanted to, before I do the sponsor, let me just say this: we're working on our mics. We don't understand why our mic situation. I mean, I'm gonna pull back.
Well,
We're
we
gonna
have an
pull back.
idea.
Yeah.
We have an
Um.
idea, and it has to do
Yeah.
with my ADHD.
Well, and I do this. Like I get up on the mic, so I need to pull back a little bit probably.
And I
Maybe
need to stop going like this and moving all around when I'm talking, but it's so hard. It's so
I
hard.
know. We doesn't listen. We love you, and we're trying. We're trying to be a little bit more cognizant of it. Thank you
I feel
guys
bad.
for
I feel bad
yeah.
for the people who listen to us in the car that are like, "Meh, meh, meh, meh."
Yeah. But I want to thank the people that
Hey,
tell us
thank you.
because like when we listen it's different. I feel like on YouTube it's different. I don't know if it's just the audio
I feel like
version.
also looking like
Mhm.
distracts you too and doesn't make you think about the audio as much, unless it's like
Yeah,
terrible.
that's true. So I'll be pulling back on the mic a little bit, and Paige will lean forward. I'll lean back. That kind of thing. So, all right. So let me get back to Beyond Bars Imaging. Beyond Bars Imaging. Hey, it's time for Valentine's Day, Easter, all your St. Patty's Day fun, Mardi Gras, whatever you got going on. Just family pictures. Paige can do it all. She's done amazing things. Check her out on Facebooks, on Instagrams, and TikToks, now that TikTok is back. And reach out to her for your edits. And let me tell you, no edit is too hard for Paige. I'll tell you, she can take two different pictures and merge them. She can make your family pictures look not so prisony, all of the things. So reach out to Beyond Bars Imaging. All right.
Can I say a quick little comment about Beyond
Absolutely.
Bars imaging?
Go ahead.
Um, and this isn't even just specifically about my edits. This is just kind of me wanting to make a comment in general for all people who have incarcerated loved ones, not just even prison wives, people who are mothers and sisters and cousins and everything. We recently had heard and been made aware of some comments that were made about specifically AI edits of people who are incarcerated and saying that, different things like the typical comments that you would expect. You're delusional. Why would anyone do this? Just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
degrading it, making it less of a thing. Like you shouldn't do this or be able to even do this
Mm-hmm.
type thing. I'm at a loss of words right now, Gigi. Am I communicating what I'm trying to say
No, you
correctly?
got it. Like it's just it's a lot of hate against
Yes.
couples doing AI, like prison couples or families doing AI photos in general and making fun of them
Yes.
because they want their pictures to look not prisony. They want them to look normal
Yes, and
and degrading them for that.
I
Or
just want those
bullying.
people to know that, like, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But you need to remember that everyone is also entitled to have whatever kind of photo with whatever kind of edit that they want. And just because you have an opinion that differs from that doesn't mean that that is the law or that that is the ruling of the land. You know, you can have your group watch hate parties and do whatever you want to make you feel better about the situation. But all I say is make sure that you tread that cautiously, because no matter what, you are talking about real people, people's lives that you don't know, you don't even know what is going on. You know what you see, and
Yeah.
people don't let you see everything, especially in this world. Like, we keep a lot of it behind bars, and I just challenge people to, when they want to say cruel things like that, to be kind and just think before you say these things, especially when it comes to body shaming, because that's never fucking going to be okay.
No.
Whether you're talking about any kind of picture. Like, you can dislike someone for their significant other, but then you really need to stop and look and see with what you're doing is just a hate party.
Yep.
The mean girl energy is so gross. And I said to Gigi, I tread lightly with the word girl because you're women.
Adults, grown
You're
ass fucking
adults.
women. Oh, yes, it's over 10 minutes.
You're
Okay.
adults and you're acting like this. And at what point does it turn into a bashing party of not even the original subject of what you wanted to bash?
Yeah.
And that's just what I want to leave it at. And, you know, I'm not trying to start anything. All I'm saying is that you should really be kind and think about other people before you make such hateful comments. The internet is forever, guys. Whether you think it is or isn't, whether you think things are deleted, whether you think things are private, whether you think you're sending things privately, like, just know that. And I want everyone to remember that.
Yep. And let me say this. If you feel the need to body shame another female or woman,
Sets me off.
you're not a girl's girl. So get off, you know, like, you're just proving that right there.
Look inward.
Secondly, your insecurities showing, honeys.
The
Big
only
time.
time the only time I have ever body shamed people or other women in my life is when I was at a bad point in my life or I had a lot of internal issues, and I could admit that. And that's what I'm asking these people to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's giving misery.
Yeah.
When I listen to it on YouTube, can we say that? I guess I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it.
I know. Hey,
When I'm not gonna say who it was, but I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say when I listened to it on YouTube, it was basically like 1,000 people getting together to bully one person, and then bully, you know, their
tear them
pictures.
apart.
Yes, and you know, unfortunately, in this climate right now, everything is very hateful. Everything is very ugly. You know, having empathy and compassion is seen as a weakness. So, you know, I don't know where this world is going, but clearly people need to heal. They need to look inward, and they need to stop hating. If you don't like something, that's fine. You can, you know, say what you want. That's fine. Everybody's, like I said, I believe everybody's entitled to their opinions,
Yeah.
including mine, which we're going to get into in a little bit. But I don't know. I just think when you take it to a level where you're harassing and bullying somebody and ripping them to shreds for for what? For
Like, you're
likes?
talking about their arms and the size of their
They're
arms.
fat,
A
or, you know,
woman,
their
another
size.
woman,
Yeah.
saying that you could like arm wrestle, like she'd beat you in an arm. Like, what is wrong with you guys? And you guys are letting men talk about other women like that. It's just gross. Like, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yep.
Like, this country, god damn it. I'm so worried about the direction that we're headed in. And because I, like, you know, I think about things like YouTube. Okay, have your watch parties, do your stuff, whatever, revolving whoever. I don't care. You're allowed to do that. But how are you allowed to have watch parties where you bash on people's appearances? Like, it's just
Yeah, and believe me, I was getting people to report it as bullying. I was trying to get people
how's it allowed? I don't
which they
get it.
did. which they did, but it like YouTube doesn't do anything about it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to turn that into a long rant, but I just really felt the need to say that. I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to address what we're talking about. Hopefully it'll make it to their ears. I think eventually it will, just the way
Sure.
everything is and the way that people are. And I don't think anything we just said is problematic or should cause any more drama, because all we're saying is please be a person.
Be a human being and recognize that.
Everyone's going through their own things. Are we justifying people in their past actions? No.
Yeah.
Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone does bad things. And unless you're a saint, you should think about that.
Yeah. Amen. 100. All right. Are we ready to get into some, speaking of legislation, are we ready to get into some legislation?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we got some good stuff, y'all. Good Lord.
We do. Some good stuff.
All right, here we go. All right, what up with that legislation? Hopefully I did our friend proud.
You did. That was good.
All right, Paige, what you got, boo?
All right. I mean, can we talk about all of the Jan 6 pardons?
Sure. You want to preface this?
Yeah.
Before we get into this?
Let me preface this whole episode, kind of. Not the whole episode, but a majority of the episode. I know we have some listeners on both sides of the fence when it comes to politics, and I do love that. I fucking love that we have people on both sides that listen and care about what we're saying. But I am going to say this episode is going to include probably a good bit of bashing towards the right, specifically Trump, because of these new things that he signed into law and a lot of his actions and we're not even a week in. So I'm going to be honest, there's going to be bashing. If that's something that you don't want to hear, you don't want to deal with, I would say either just close out right now or fast forward maybe to the end. That's going to be the majority of this episode.
Yep. You've been warned.
Yep. So for anyone who doesn't know, Trump did pardon, was it 1,500 or so? Exceeding?
16. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People who were participating in the January 6th riot at the Capitol Hill. That includes violent offenders. That includes people who attacked police officers, which is another thing that he says should be a death penalty case now, which is very interesting. I'm seeing a lot of articles about people who were pardoned that show little remorse or even thanks for Trump for the pardoning of them. They're like, yeah, thanks, we're out now. A lot of them don't even have any remorse. I mean, we saw, for all who remembers the shaman, the guy who put the thing on his head and stood at Nancy Pelosi at the desk and was like going through Nancy Pelosi's book and all that shit. He is out talking about how he wants a gun. He's like, let me get my hands on a gun. And I love Daddy Trump.
Yep.
Like, this is a direct quote from a rioter who was released. I definitely don't feel bad personally for being a part of it, he said on the phone. I take ownership for my decision and my behavior. I went to prison. I don't know how much more ownership you can take. Maybe I deserved a fine or something. I don't know. But 5 years, that was excessive.
Wow.
These are the people that we are pardoning.
And let me say this. If you think Trump is going to pardon your loved one, never.
He won't let my fucking boy Joe Exotic out.
No.
Let out my boy Joe Exotic.
No. I'm going to tell you this right now. He's going to pardon who he wants to pardon for his ego and his...
The Silk Road.
Yeah.
The Silk Road owner. Let's talk about that. What's his name? I forget his name.
Mike told me it the other day, and I can't remember it. There's
sorry,
also the woman who boycotted. Oh, go ahead, keep going.
Ross Ulbricht is his name. Ulbricht. I'm probably pronouncing that terribly wrong. He created the darknet drug market site called the Silk Road, where people bought all kinds of drugs and fentanyl that resulted in many deaths across.
But fentanyl is a life sentence.
And guess what, though? You want to know why he fucking pardoned his ass? He was serving a life sentence. He was serving a life sentence. You want to know why he pardoned him? In my opinion, he wants him to build True Social in his whole website. I don't know if that's facts, but that's what I think.
I agree.
This man was serving a life sentence, as he should, because who knows how many deaths were his response, were his fault.
Mm-hmm.
But he literally was let out, like walked out of prison.
Free and clear.
Meanwhile, all of these people have a problem with Biden's cannabis pardons, non-violent offenders. Fucking
Sorry.
Lose my fucking
God,
mind.
I'm gonna lose my mind. Not to mention, also the woman who kept harassed and pushed women who were walking into abortion clinics found 5 fetuses in her home. 5 fetuses. She's been pardoned.
Yes. So, do you want to know something? I know this. So, an activist, he follows me on Twitter. I didn't realize what side of activism he was on. He's very progressive in the sense that he is pro-life and very pro-life in the sense that he is anti-abortion even.
Okay.
So he's one of those. And I didn't know that. He's been in the federal prison because he wasn't, I think they weren't letting people into a Planned Parenthood. They were literally physically blocking and they were put in prison. He is out now. He let out all these people that did these at Planned Parenthoods and stuff.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm sorry. I could go on for days. I'm just saying, if you think that Trump cares about your loved one in prison, you are sorely mistaken. The fact that he's pardoning all of these people, which is fine. I'm all about a pardon. But don't criticize Joe Biden for marijuana pardons. Don't criticize Joe Biden for pardoning 2,500 nonviolent drug offenses.
Or pardoning his family. Seriously, guys, I don't want to hear that anymore because if you were president, you would too, especially if that is the man
your
who's
child
coming into office.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
And I don't give a fuck if fucking Hunter Biden is snorting coke off of a stripper's ass. Why does anyone think I care about that? Thank you. No. That's it. I'm done.
Well, I'm not done. I'm going to say this. If you are a criminal justice reform advocate and you voted for this man who now signed an executive order to severely go to the death penalty.
Yep.
Okay.
Every state.
Please unfriend me.
Same.
I'm taking it personally because, listen, my husband doesn't deserve to be on death row. He got put there because he had a public defender and had no way to money. Yeah. Those without capital get the punishment.
Yep.
And you just signed a way for the satanic governor himself, Jeff Landry, to find, not only did Jeff Landry bring back other methods of execution in the state of Louisiana, now he has every reason to find drugs to kill people with other governors in all 50 states. And if you go, well, I didn't think he was going to do it.
He told you.
I'm going to say fuck you because you knew it. We talked about this before he even got into office.
He said he wanted to kill drug dealers. He said he wanted to kill women.
He wants to kill women who get abortions. He wants to kill drug dealers. He wants to kill anybody he can. To flex his political
people who attack cops, even though he just pardoned about 1,500 of them.
Okay. Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is don't sit here and say, I'm a criminal justice advocate.
You're not. I'm sorry.
If you're voting for mass incarceration and the expansion of the fucking death penalty, you twat. I'm sorry. You're a twat waffle. And I'm going to call it like it is. You can't say you're for criminal justice reform if you support this egotistical orange, worship him like he's fucking Messiah. Because he does not care about anybody in prison unless it benefits him.
For anyone who thinks that they're a criminal justice advocate and they did vote for him, I challenge you to let me know what he has done or what he is planning on doing to help with reform. Because I haven't seen it. And I don't see any plans either. All I see is plans to go tougher on crime again. We're literally
which
rolling
we've been
back.
talking about this whole time.
Like, I mean, can you are we allowed to talk about the federal death row stuff, or are we?
What you mean? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go.
So
Because
for
we
those who
have
don't,
friends that this impacts.
yeah, for those who don't know, obviously Biden, before he left, he did pardon federal death row. Almost everyone, the terrorist situations were left still on death row in federal facilities. However, now everyone who is being shifted out is being through a whole another whirlwind. Gigi, I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah. He just signed another executive order to make these people that are on death row, despite of their federal point system, their behavior and whatever,
Doesn't matter.
even if they have the points to meet just going to a regular federal penitentiary, a U.S. penitentiary, they're going to be locked down on Supermax. It doesn't matter your points. You will be put into Colorado, which is a very strict Supermax federal facility where they get one call a month and their visits are glass. So they don't even get contact visits and they're not on death row.
And let's talk about how a lot of the government, and specifically Trump's organizations, were trying to pressure the states to file their own charges against these men.
Yes.
He wants, like, for example, our friend, his case, her husband's case was committed in Florida, so they're like, all right, we want now Florida to put him on trial, another death
penalty.
You guys understand how much money capital punishment cases are? Beyond everything, for the specialists, for everything, for the appeals, it is so much money. Money's never a factor in any of this. People never talk about it, or like, hello?
The minimum is 1 to 5 million. 1 to 5 million minimum.
Does Florida have that floating around right now? I don't think so. No. The fucking gators and the hurricanes took it from you.
Yeah. Sadly. I mean, I feel bad about that, but
me too. But shit, they have more things to worry about than putting people on trial for things that they've already done. These men are confined for life. They still have life sentences. They're acting like they're going out free and like living life. Like, no, these are still confined people for life.
That would be the January 6ers.
Yeah, they are out here and they don't give a fuck about what they did. And let's not even talk about the precedent that set, like him letting them out. I keep going back to it. I'm so sorry. But like, okay, so we're literally showing them that they can do that again. That if it happens again, because they're gonna get out if someone gets into power. Like, oh my god, I'm literally gonna spiral. Hello, the idea that they can do this and they'll get pardoned, so it doesn't really matter, you know.
Yeah. I think, listen, I'm not trying to be mean. I just got heated, but let me say this. I need y'all to use your noggins, okay? You can't fight for your loved one when the person that's in charge wants to make sure your loved one stays down by creating more laws that are stricter, that are more heinous penalties for crimes, that wants to see. I mean, we already said this. The day he got elected, private prison stock already went up almost 50%. So he's part of the mass incarceration machine because the people that support him support funding private prisons and making money off our loved ones. So
I have something to add to that you saying that reminded me. The lovely Michelle had sent me a message. She sent me 2 articles about Montana, and they are now sending as many as 600 state prisoners to Arizona, Mississippi. They're just shifting people around because they have some drama even within their own organization, like embezzlement issues with the higher ups there. And you're gonna keep
Montana,
especially with these fucking private prisons.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say Montana is also thinking of reinstating the death penalty, a state that does not have the death penalty now that Trump has signed this executive order.
Oh my gosh, it literally feels like we're falling backwards into like a time.
Welcome to 1950. Just saying. But hey, I hope the people that voted got what they want. I hope that they get everything that they voted for. I really do. 10 fucking fold. For real. Some other crazy fucking legislation coming out of Mississippi and Tennessee, guys. Well, not Tennessee, but Mississippi. There is now a bill being put forward, just so you know, the climate that we're in down here in the South, that would make casual sex punishable by fine and jail. The only purpose for sexual relations is for intercourse. So there's a bill called procreation, or no, what is it? Conception starts at erection. And if you are caught having casual sex outside of the bounds or formation of trying to procreate, then you could be fined for the first time like $1,000, second time $5,000, third time $10,000, and then later on you could get up to $100,000 and face jail time.
Is that real?
For fucking real. And a Tennessee congressman is going to put forth a bill to allow President Trump to be elected for a third term.
I saw that.
Wants to amend the fucking Constitution.
All right. Is he going to be here in February? Are people really going to elect like a 9-year-old dude? Or however fucking old he's going to be? Like, seriously. At what point can you call Biden an Alzheimer's patient, and then this man is not also? Let's be fair.
He's an orange messiah. Anyway,
I have one more article too.
Okay.
I just wanted to touch on, especially for some of our federal, fans. Yeah. Just, of course, this was in the news. The Trump axed the director of Federal Bureau of Prisons, the BOP. He axed her right away as soon as he got in there. Colette Peters, who led since August 2022. I don't really have much of a comment on that because I've heard a lot of shit about her. And under her, all of that stuff with Dublin and stuff happened. So, I mean, is he going to put someone better in? I don't know. I'm not hopeful. But, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe his, like, connection to, like, federal crimes, and maybe Jan Sixers will get in his ear and maybe he'll want to have something, but like I feel like this man doesn't know what compassion is or empathy.
No, not at all. And don't even sit here and argue with me about it, because I will go on for fucking days. Believe me, I've been arguing with some MAGA boomer women who are the vilest creatures ever. And I've been called a bitch, a brat, every name under the sun. I've been told I'm not educated. I have been told everything. So if you want to go with me, let's go. I
love the only response I really ever get is, well, this is who was elected. I was like, why wasn't that your
stuff? We won
last year?
Yeah.
Oh, because he wasn't. All right, shut up.
Yeah. I will say I have a few things out of Louisiana. For those of our Louisiana peeps, there was a huge month-long investigation by the Louisiana State Police into drugs and illegal activity at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center. However, guess what? The warden and some of the higher-ranking wardens who were found, to be contributing to this are still working, if not promoted, in the Louisiana DOC. Only one arrest out of all of that investigation was done, and it was for probably someone who was not high up. Usually the grunts that get arrested.
They got to put it on someone.
Meanwhile, the warden, Bordelon, and many other colonels and other people are still working in the Louisiana DOC, if not promoted. So, just to show you the amount of corruption, that they don't hold the people in charge accountable, because we need good boys. We need good boys in our system. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to Carla for bringing this up. At Angola, they just finished a new wing or camp for hospice. I know this upset a lot of people, but this was something that was in the making for lots of
It's
years.
better to have than not have.
Yeah. How it does look nice. But you know, I'll be honest, in Louisiana, we don't believe in compassionate release. So men die in hospice with other trustees and incarcerated individuals caring for them.
Same with California.
So, you know, rather than look at compassionate release, we're looking at expanding our hospice care because the amount of lifers here in Louisiana is the highest probably in the world.
We, in California, they have an organization called the Humane Prison Hospice Project, which is an amazing organization. They basically they developed a humanitarian, cost-effective, and transformative solution to ensure that those aging and dying in prison receive compassionate care. So basically, I know the one guy who is a big Fernando Murillo is his name for anyone who is curious. He's an amazing guy. He was incarcerated for the longest time at CMC, and he got put into that area, and he helped take care of many men that were dying and incarcerated in there. And he said it was, obviously it's very hard, but one of the most rewarding things to be able to do. Like, although that they are in prison, and like he's able to help make that last part of their life, you know, a peaceful and compassionate one. And having organizations like that are amazing. So yeah, I agree, it is really sad because no one should die in those situations, but thankfully there's organizations like that that are being created to kind of help make these situations a little bit better, because although they're dying, even states like California will be like, no, you're gonna stay here and die.
Yeah. And I thought about this, sadly. I thought about this, and I know lifer wives, y'all can feel me when I say this. I hope that Michael gets off death row. And if he does, it'll probably, to be like, let's be real. I'm being realistic with myself. It'll probably be a life sentence. And in Louisiana, life sentences means life. Like there's no way to get out of that. Especially in the climate we have right now. When I saw that post, it made me think like I'm going to be 85 or 80 or 75 sitting in hospital. I'm going to be there. Like I'm going to be visiting my Michael in hospice, you know? And
I just think of the guys.
that's a lot. That's a lot to think about, you know, but it's true. Like it hits you, you know, like this is your reality. And this is like, I'm not going to be able to be with him when he passes, you know? Sorry. I'm a gamut of emotions today. Jesus.
I can't even tell you how many times I've had thoughts like that about Joseph. And Joseph and I have had talks all the time because he's in an area where there are a lot of elderly men there. And in California, once you get to a certain point, you literally have to wear a reflective jacket because you're a fall risk. And like there's all these men that are in the prison that just have walkers and can barely get around. And I can't even tell you how many times he's said to me on the phone, like, I'm so scared of that being me one day, and I don't know what to do or how to help him, because like there's nothing I can do to stop that from being a possibility. Like it's very, very possible, and I hate thinking of them aging in prison. It's just terrible. It's like they've already spent their youth there, like parts of their years where their brain was still developing, like trying to figure out why they even did what the fuck they did. And now they figured it out and understand, but they're still confined. And it sucks that there's states and places that the reform that you do and work you put towards changing that doesn't matter. They're like, yeah, well, you still did it.
Yeah, you deserve to die alone. Yep, you deserve it. Okay.
Hopefully they allow some of the incarcerated men to work there. I don't know if that's their.
They do. Okay. They do. That's the staff. I mean, they have medical staff, obviously, but the majority of the staff is incarcerated people. And
because just from hearing about how theirs worked, like obviously anyone can be compassionate towards incarcerated people, but I feel like especially if you're working in an area like that, like you really know how to like give like give yourself to the and he's I mean he's been out now for 3 years and he is still this he still works for this foundation and does all this stuff. Like he's
Wow.
amazing.
Kudos to
Yeah.
him. That is amazing. What a beautiful human
He's
being.
great. I met him while on Twitter advocating for Joe, right after he had got out of CMC, and it was when I figured out who he was and then who his like his whole like foundation that he had. I was like, you, that's you. I'm like, wait, oh, it's just
Yeah.
cool how many. But there's a lot of shitty people in this field and in this life, but there are also
Yep.
so many fucking amazing ones, and it's awesome when you find them.
Yeah. They're like diamonds in the
Mm-hmm.
rough almost,
Mm-hmm.
Um wow. What an amazing
Yeah.
dude. I mean, just like to think about it. And I will say this, the hospice situation at Angola, I mean, most of the guys that do work in hospice, there's been a lot of documentaries on this, talk about how life changing it is for
Yeah.
them, how humbling it is for them, and how much love they've learned to have. And it's almost like a therapy for them
Uh,
in a sense. Like it helps them heal and helps them grow emotionally, and spiritually, to work in the hospice
Yeah,
dorms.
especially if you committed a crime when you were younger, and like I think his crime that he committed was murder, but I think he was very young. And I think one of the things that he said is that like it kind of like being at this end of life and helping
Hmm.
people like grieve and get through it and process it has like I mean gives you a completely new outlook on it
Yeah.
and like and I can't imagine that healing process too because it's like realizing the full 180 of the impact of your crime and
Yeah.
but then there's people that just think people commit crime and then they sit in prison and think about their crime and are like, yeah, let me go out and do it again. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you've no fucking idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. But obviously, when you get an education, come and talk to me, because that
Yeah.
is
I'm
total
busy.
ignorant bullshit.
I'm busy for your
Your ignorance
industry.
is showing.
What'd you say?
I said your ignorance is
Damn.
showing. Well, let's go ahead and get into our main topics. Our main topics, we wanted to cover, obviously, I think we kind of covered this about the bullying. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to hit on that page, because we kind of hit on that at the beginning of the pod.
I could probably elaborate more, honestly, because I
Okay.
feel like what I wanted to talk about in regard to that is even goes beyond like the hate that we always get from people who don't really understand our lives, but more inside the prison wife community. Like I just our whole goal or dream for this year was that everyone was more cohesive within this community and more understanding of each other and tried to be less judgmental and just kind of taking each day and accepting people for where they're at today and not what they did forever ago.
Yeah.
And that includes like husbands, because I know a lot of like the political banter, at least within CDCR, is annoying when it comes to like SNY yards or general population or EOPs, and like it's almost embarrassing when I read it as a fellow prison wife, because I'm just like, you guys, first off, we're not in there, so stop trying to act like you know what you're talking about, and stop trying to act like you understand the the way that things work in there, and like the
Yeah.
blindly believing, oh, if someone's on SNY, they're a sex
Can you
offender.
tell everybody what SO, like SO?
So yeah, being
Yeah.
SNY's special needs yard, it's basically when it's like a protective custody yard, like a
Okay.
PC yard, but
Hmm.
there really aren't PC yards or SNY yards anymore in California. They basically have combined most of them, that they're like half and half. So
Okay.
it's like not even a real thing, that, but people still like to use it and say like, if your man is on an SNY yard, oh well, he must be a sex offender. Hey, what are you even talking about? Because A, that's not true, and B, like, you know what I mean? Like that's a general thought that people have, that they just take it and roll with it to bash other people, like
Yeah.
because I mean a lot of time sex offenders are on SNY yards, because if they're gonna be on general population, they'll probably get their ass beat or killed.
Yeah.
which is the truth
They
of
have a
it all.
target on their
And
back,
another thing for
unfortunately.
people who think that they know what the fuck they're talking about, you can't even have family visits if you have a sex charge or a domestic violence charge at that, or a charge that involves minors. So like that's one way that all these people, you know, you think that they act like they know A, B, C, or D. It's like you don't. They'll say all these things about a prison wife who has like a family visit, and it's like that can't even be factual.
Yeah. I'm also going to talk about. I know SOs are a touchy subject within the prison. I mean, not with even outside, but more importantly, we're talking about within the
It
prison life
is.
community. I mean, I had somebody reach out to me this morning, saying that she's embarrassed. She's embarrassed to talk about. You know, she doesn't want to talk about her husband's crime in our support
Mm-hmm.
group. I had to reach out to another person that I know is dealing with the same type of sentence.
I I have a few
For her
I
to,
have a few people too that also, and you would have
yeah,
no idea.
and they're afraid because they know they're afraid to speak
Mm-hmm.
because, and they're afraid to show their faces in prison wife support groups, y'all, because of their loved one's crime, because of the fact that they get harassed and bullied within the
It
prison wife
happens every
community.
time.
Yeah. And so listen, I know people that do blanket statements. Well, if they have a SO charge, you know, I don't care what they say. I'm not believing a word they say, you know, and all this stuff. And I'm going to challenge you to not be so prejudiced and not be
Don't be
so,
closed-minded.
yeah.
That's being as closed-minded and narrow-minded as the people that we rag on.
Yeah. And listen, I mean, you know, you can have your opinions, but keep in mind the person that, you know, I think it's even like, you know, it's bad for me because I'm a death row wife, but I'll say this, being a loved one of a person with the SO charge, it's almost as if you are the sex offender
Yeah.
yourself and you are the person that did this crime, whatever that may be, you know, and these women and men, you know, some of them have boyfriends, need support
Mm-hmm.
too. I just want to reiterate that. And they shouldn't feel scared and ashamed to be a part of the prison wife community because of their loved one's charge.
Mm-hmm.
They're here because their loved one is incarcerated. It doesn't matter what the charge is. They're here to get support. That's
It's
at
not
the
our
end of the
job.
day.
It's not our job to judge anyone or take anyone to fucking court. That's already been done.
Yeah. There's people that did that
Mm-hmm.
already. So I just ask, like, with this whole trying to shift the hate rhetoric that's going around right now to, you know, being empathetic and not seeing it as a weakness, just saying like, hey girl, like I got you, like, you know, what, you know, do you want to talk? Like, you know, and listen, I'm not saying you have to talk about sex offender shit. I'm just saying you have to just be mindful and say, hey, like, how you doing? Just, even if you just ask somebody how they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
fuck,
Mm-hmm.
that can make a world of difference. So you're allowed to feel how you want to feel about sex crimes. I get that, but don't take it out on the wives
Mm-hmm.
or the girlfriends of those that have that, because they're not guilty of that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to
And
reiterate
you
that
also don't
because
know the reality of the situation. By any means, am I not trying to say that all sex offense crimes aren't factual, because we know, unfortunately, that
yeah,
they are
yeah,
very,
they are.
very factual many of times. But that also,
Hmm.
just like every other crime, there are also fake circumstances. I've met several women who have told me that their situation is that. Now, do I know that for fact? No, because I wasn't there and I haven't read the fucking case script. But that's also not my job. I'm just here to
Yeah,
support them and be there
yeah,
for them and help them get through a hard time. You know what I mean? That's why it's not our job to judge these people or their husbands. Like, God, if someone judged me, which they probably do, judge me for Joe's crime, like my
yeah,
that's not my burden to carry. You know what I mean?
yeah. And listen, at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we all make mistakes. And whether their crime is, you know, a factual thing or not, like they're claiming
My
innocence.
my husband
There's,
killed two people. That, to some people, is so much worse than things like that. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
is like, I just found out today in some fucking Facebook group on a pen pal website that they don't let you, apparently I saw they don't let people post lifers on there, or they talk all kinds of shit about that. And I'm like, this is a pen pal website. Not that I was posting my husband. Someone else posted a lifer and they
Yeah.
were like, no, like
Yeah.
they are a murderer. They did this. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Some people did that in
Doesn't
prison.
mean they don't need a pen pal.
Yeah.
Come
So
on.
everyone has their own moral compass to what is bad and good when it comes to these crimes. And I think it just a lot of the time, because really the grossness and raunchiness of a lot of these, unfortunately, sexual offender
Hmm.
assault cases are a lot
Yeah.
louder because the media grabs them too and will.
Yeah. Well, and then, people think sex offender and they think, it could be like they automatically go to the worst case
Yeah.
scenario.
And it could be like
Um, and it could
not
not,
even be
like, it could
physical.
be, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, um, all right. Well, anything else with bullying, Paige, that you want to touch on, or
No,
you hit it all?
just what we,
Be
just
nice.
challenge everyone to kind of, next time you feel yourself about to say something that might hurt someone, just backspace it, or just don't
Yeah.
say it, because really, what is the point?
And listen, you can say, well, oh, well, if I always do this. If that was your sister, if that was your best friend's loved one, would you want someone talking to them like that? Like, would you want somebody treating your sister or your best friend like that, and shunning them and making them feel ashamed and bullying them and harassing them because of their loved one's charge? Would you want that for somebody close to you? Probably not.
Hmm.
So, like Mama always said, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it. You don't have to sit here. If you don't feel comfortable, that's fine. You can have your boundaries. Like, totally get it.
Hell yeah.
But don't be a bully. And don't be a bully bystander. Because if you see it happen and you don't correct it, you're just as
Yep.
culpable. All right. Well, a second topic that I wanted to touch on today that I've been seeing a lot of on prison wife support groups, not just our own, but others as well, and on TikTok, and on Instagram, people worrying about, like, prison wives getting so wrapped up in losing their own selves in giving to their loved one because they feel bad. I've seen the story. I'm sure you've seen this too, Paige. Like, I can't even make rent this month, and I'm so worried about putting $200 on my man's books, and like, I think the too much giving and losing yourself.
Hmm.
And I want to stand by this because when we interviewed Lynette and Angel, she was like hardcore on this. She was like, if I had something going on, like, and I couldn't go to visit, like, my life out here comes first.
It has to.
And yeah. And so I just want to reiterate that. I want you guys to always put yourself, I know it's not selfish. It's not selfish if you put yourself first when it comes to dealing with your loved one that's incarcerated. And when I say that, I don't want people to take it out of the context. What I'm saying is, you can't break yourself to make your man in prison happy, to give him all the things that he wants to get, to give your time, like, take away time from other things in your life because you're giving it all to him. Yes, our loved ones are important. Yes, our loved ones, need things. I get that. But if you can't make it happen, please do not first of all, beat yourself up, and then go out of the way to ruin your own life to give to your loved one because you're afraid he's going to get angry or
The
upset,
one
or you're trying to make him happy. You know what I
The one
mean?
thing, one of the questions, we're doing a collab coming up with Pelly Post, and one of the questions that they actually asked both Gigi and I was about how other people have been struggling to, maintain their own identity while supporting their loved ones, and how self-care is important to that. And like, the one thing I said when I answered them was, you cannot devote 110% of yourself to your incarcerated loved one, and you have to remember that they wouldn't want you to do that either. Like, you cannot be 100% for everyone and then still show up for yourself. It's just not realistic. And the thing I said was most important for this was setting boundaries. That's the best way for you to practice your self-care and being able to define yourself from your loved one, because you can still, love them and shower them with all kinds of love, but also love yourself, because if all you do is pumped into them, you're going to start to drain your own battery and be at zero eventually, while theirs is all the way up at 110.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm gonna say this. I'm a girl's girl, and I tell Michael this all the time. I love you to death, but I love me first. Like, I'm not gonna kill myself and ruin my life out here for you. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, I'm a mom. That's why
Yeah.
I'm a whole ass mother. So I'm like, I am a wife, but I'm a whole ass mother, and that's my number one job always.
Yeah. And listen, being a prison wife is, I'm not going to lie, it's part of my identity. It's part of who I am. It is not all of who I am. At the end of the day, I'm Gigi. I'm a Gemini. I love hiking. Like, I love other things than just prison wife shit. Do I love prison wife? I love the community. That's why I wouldn't be here every week. I love my husband. I'm going to fight for the freedom of people that I think deserve a second chance. But I'm not going to also run myself ragged and financially kill myself. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Financially strain myself to try to make Mike happy. First of all, Mike's not like that. If he knows if I can't afford something, we're not getting it.
Any man that's going to strain you guys of money too, that's a number one red flag. I know we talked about red flags before, but like, if they know that you're tight on money and they are still pushing for money, that's kind of a like,
yeah, it's selfish on their part. Because your life does not revolve around them.
No, and they should know that. And whether they're acting like they do or they don't, they do. So
a grown man would realize that.
You have to hold them accountable the same way you would hold anyone accountable out here. They're just in prison.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, at the end of the day, I tell Mike this, like, if I don't have money to help you out in some form or fashion with food, you're getting a state tray. You still get 3 meals a day. You still get a bed. You still have access to clean water. Like, he will make, first of all, and I will say this, a lot of the guys make do, and they really do.
A lot of them have families too. You got to remember that too. Like, it's not, so a lot of them aren't just you. Like, so like you shouldn't be the only one that has to, finance their life.
Yeah, and it's not your sole responsibility either. You know what I mean? So I just challenge prison wives not only to love each other, but also to love yourself. And don't let people tell you that self-care is selfish, because it is not selfish. In this life,
thing that you can do.
Actually. Yeah. And that's what I said in that question. I said, we sacrifice so much. We are independent women doing the damn thing out here, kicking ass, taking names, and, we deserve a treat. We deserve care. We deserve things. So, if money's tight, find ways to take care of yourself. However that is for you.
And there are so many ways that you can do that for them too. They don't need finance. Like, they don't need money on their account. They don't need like food all the time. Like, is that nice? But there are so many other ways that you can care for them and love them and give them your time. You can, do date nights on the phone. You can do like fun games on paper and send each other back and forth. There are other ways that you guys can support each other and that aren't always going to be financial. And, really, I feel like that even comes for anything, because like if your loved one is going through a lot, and not even just finances, like they're really stressed out all the time, you can give all that you can to them and help them emotionally be there, but then you also need to emotionally be there for yourself, because like if you're someone like me who's like a very empathetic person, it's very easy for me to like converse with someone and start to fucking immediately like feel the things that they're dealing with, especially with my husband. Like, they have a fire right now. There's a fire very close to his prison right now, and I've been I've been sick, but like I've also been like anxious about that. And like every time we talk on the phone, I can like hear it in his voice when he sees like the fire trucks and when he sees the smoke in the
Mhm.
air and like it's getting harder to breathe. And it's like I feel like I'm there with him when he's telling me
Yeah.
all of these things. And it's like I have to like check myself and be like, okay, I'm okay. I have to have faith in CDCR that they will do what they need to do because they cannot handle a lawsuit like that and
Yeah.
just keep fucking pushing forward and not letting my mind spiral.
Yeah. And be there for them the best you can. But also, I mean, and I mean, I can only imagine because we do have a lot of CDCR wives that are at Joe's facility.
It's
And
terrible.
obviously in San Diego County, they've been evacuating people. Our hearts go out to y'all for sure. I can't imagine you're worried endlessly about your loved one because in a sense they're trapped. They're trapped.
I can't imagine how they
And
feel.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I don't want you guys. And just it's important to remember that while yes, their safety is utmost importance, and I just don't.
I
I
can't
want
lose
you
my mind
guys
over
to
here.
be.
Like I gotta keep it
Yeah, yeah,
for him even.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I can't be sitting there like, oh my god, it's this close. This is what happened. Like giving him like live updates of it. Like that's gonna help no one.
yeah, yeah. So love each other, love yourselves, and remember you can't give of yourself if your cup is empty. That's all I'm gonna say.
Per.
Because we love to give. I think, it takes a certain type of person to be a prison wife. It takes a empathetic, compassionate, sweet person to be a prison wife and to sacrifice for love and for what you believe in. But don't sacrifice yourself in the process.
Never.
Yeah.
Because you're a bad bitch.
You a bad bitch. A bad bitch. A bad
And you ain't
bitch.
letting no one steal that from you, especially the fucking correction system. The DOC? No. You're not
Yeah.
letting them fuck you up.
Don't let
That's
them
your
lie.
affirmation for today. The DOC is not stealing my fucking vibes.
Amen. And amen again. All right, are we ready? I think we're getting a call.
Yay.
Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from
Frederick.
an inmate at Florida Correctional Institution.
Oh, it's Florida Fred. He's giving us a call saying that we got some questions and comments that we need to go through. Are you ready, Paige?
Damn. Very.
All right, here we go. The first comment I got was from the post we had a couple days ago when Trump did sign his executive order about the death penalty, pushing the death penalty, getting the drugs for the death penalty. So, this person asked, I didn't get permission, so I'm not going to say her name. Does he have an impact in federal cases, or will he impact states too? So she had a very specific question regarding our post, and I wanted to just say it affects anybody on any death row in a sense, because yes, he is in charge of federal death row, but him giving the attorney generals of the states the power to get access to the deadly mix of lethal injection drugs, and then obviously also pushing for other methods of execution in the states, and then also telling the states, hey, you should prosecute, like we said earlier, you should prosecute the people that were just pardoned off death row. So yes, he does have the swing and the power to, do both.
The next question that we got in the inbox is, do we have any ideas for Valentine's Day?
Well, we did talk about it on our recent Patreon. Sexy pics, nice letters, cards,
Fun games.
Fun games.
Sometimes the prison stationery sites have some really cute, fun Valentine's Day
Pelly
specific games,
posts,
like word searches.
calendars. Yeah.
Yeah, you can make calendars, you can make books if your facility lets you. I was playing around on the Pelly Post site yesterday, and the only thing I can send is photos. So I'm like, damn, I think the only thing his facility allows is photos. And because I wanted to send like a cute little photo book.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm sad that some. I mean, I wish more facilities were like just on board with stuff. I don't know why they have to be so difficult.
Like literally all the time. But I love those ideas, and anything like personal, like that you can do from afar, whether it's like love coupons or, like fun things that you can send them. I think a lot of like Joseph just loves to like have a day where we just like devote ourselves or our time to each other, because like both of us obviously are words of affirmations people, but at the same time we're like quality time, so we want to like squeeze all the time that we can, and that's how we can show our love to each other.
I sent Mike, since I can't send him picture, like I can't send him this, but I sent him a picture of I don't know if you can see it. This was the first Valentine's Day. I sent him a picture of a teddy bear that said, "Shit bitch, you was fine."
Love that.
He loved the shit bitch bear. So just little things. I'll also say, huh?
Now that you say that, I'm like, wait, I think that was my Valentine's Day present last year, because he had his sister go to Build-A-Bear and build me a bear, and put like his voice in it, and whenever I like press it, it says, "I love you so much, baby," and it's just like him.
It's got a little CDCR outfit.
No, it's like if he was out.
Oh, if he was out, okay. Because I've seen the bears with the CDCR.
I've seen that people make those.
And I was going to say too, we did, and this is something that's also a trend within prison wife groups, getting your fellow prison wives, because we're all over the place, all over the world, getting them to do like a love is so big, like your love is so big it's reached Pennsylvania, or your love is so big it's reached Scotland, or your love is so big it's reached Florida.
I did that with Joseph forever ago, and I wish I didn't, because now I know so many more people. I'm like, I could make so many more, but I'm like, I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, I want to say I did it like my first or my second year, first or second Valentine's. And I will say, like I said this on the Pelly Post blog, that for our interview, that it was one of, like, to this day, 9 years later, Michael still says that was the best gift I ever got him. Was the Love Was So Big pictures. It's
so cool for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's more of like, oh, you took the time to get people to do this for me. Like, like, even though it didn't take a lot of time, because I've done it for a lot of other prison wives, it literally takes 2 seconds. You take a picture and you send it. But I think the idea of getting everybody to collectively do this together for him was touching. So, that's also something that you could do.
Yeah, I always love that idea. And if we come up with any more, or people send us any, feel free to drop them below if you guys got good ones that we can snag.
Yeah. Comment below. All right. Are we ready for the next question?
Yo.
Okay. Oh, this is a great question from Mama. If you could change one day in your relationship, what day would it be?
One day.
I already know.
What?
It's the day where Michael and I got into it and we broke up. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't change that. I'm going to say that because it made us realize what we truly wanted. He's going to kill me if I say this, but he told me very early on, because he's a Libra, and I don't know if you know about Libras. Libras, when they are upset or hurting, they sometimes say some things to make you hurt as well. And
what's his moon? Because that's not very Libra.
Oh, his moon is Gemini.
That sounds a little bit more.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's where that came in.
Because that's mouth. A little bit more manipulative. Yeah. Like either like Cancer, Scorpio, Gemini. Yeah. Like not the Libra. Libra's all about how you look and how you're like. Like,
Very
yeah.
copacetic. Yes.
Yes.
But his moon is Gemini, and I'm a Sun Gemini and a Mars Gemini. So I will never forget this because I will never forget the way it made me feel. We were at a glass visit, and this is when, like, first year, I mean, I was a rolling ball of emotion up and down, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is hard, but the back and forth. And he said to me, looked into my eyes. He knew exactly this motherfucker knew exactly what he was doing when he said it. He said, well, I guess you don't love me like I thought you did. And
Joe and I joke with each other and say that.
no, he was serious though. He was serious. Okay. And I almost walked out of visit. And I said, I will never let you, and I still to this day don't let him live it down. Like, I forgive you for that, but I don't forget it. Mm-hmm. And we joke about it, obviously, but I said, I couldn't believe that you said that as I'm sitting here coming to visit you behind a fucking glass wall. Like, like that's how I was like, and I started crying. And then he obviously, once he sees me crying, it's like over. Mm-hmm. But if I could take that day away, because that day was just a roller coaster of emotions for both of us, that would be the day I'd take back.
I don't have a good answer because, like, we don't have, like, a breakup or, like, a really bad day. Maybe... Can I pick, like, our first visit just so, like, I could relive that again, maybe, and not even, like, because it was bad, but, like, just, like, I would like to go through it because, like, I was filled with so many emotions and nerves that, like, I feel like I wasn't able to be, like, fully present. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. We haven't had, like, I know that sounds so fucking corny. Like, of course we're not perfect, but we haven't ever had, like, a big, like, I've only ever even hung up on the man one time. I know. Only I've hung up on him one time.
I hung up on Michael one time, and he said, he says his normal thing. We don't do that. Like, we don't do that. So I learned my lesson. But that's sweet that y'all, I love that. Like, listen, not every couple, some couples get into it and some couples just don't. And, like, granted, me and Mike are, I would say, comparing to past relationships that I've had, extremely copacetic. Mm-hmm. And we're adults and we're mature and we handle our healthy relationship. Not that we don't argue, not that we don't, but we don't get into screaming matches or,
We're very good at communicating, and that's why I think that because that's the one perk of our relationship, having to start with only letters and limited calls in the beginning. Like, we had to develop that bond, or else we wouldn't have had them.
Yeah. So that would be my answer to that question. All right, next question, Paige.
What is something that you don't see advocacy groups addressing and wish that they would?
Ooh.
Oddly enough, my answer would probably be what we just talked about with the bashing of other crimes and not, like, allowing that talk even. You know what I mean? Because there's certain groups will, like, let certain things like that slide. And it's like, don't even set that precedent in here that, like, someone is better than another person because of this. Like, no.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would also say, I feel like it might be different from state to state, so I will say that. I feel like there's not enough groups addressing the lifer crisis. Like, the fact that we have very harsh sentencing and we're giving people, like, triple, quadruple life sentences for what purpose? I think I'd like to see, especially in Louisiana. That's something that's never addressed here. I know it's different because y'all have drop LWOP in California.
There's a there's a few lifer groups.
Yeah.
out here.
But so that's why I say it varies from state to state, but I would like to see from a girl down south here a little bit more addressed on the, even if you want to take it, because if you want to please the far right, let's please them with the idea of spending money on imprisoning people for life. Like, let's look at it in a fiscally conservative format. If you don't care about their lives, let's at least look at it that way and replug it that way if you want. But I'm just thinking, why is not enough groups talking about ending life sentences?
The one thing I said to Joe about specifically California, I go, is why are no groups bringing attention to the fact that all of these level 4 yards are being converted into new like level 2 and level 3s because they don't have enough men for the level 4s. Everyone, because they were arrested, are leveling down because they're not getting in trouble. What are they going to do when everyone's fucking like a level 2 and they are better behaved in prison than the fucking people out here?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Just keep them in there because that's what they sentenced them to, all of them for life? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, when do questions like that get answered?
Yeah. So that would be my concern with the criminal justice reforms or advocacy groups. Mm-hmm. All right. Another question we had was, how do you deal with feeling insecure at times? Yeah.
It depends on what like insecure and what.
I guess it could be anything.
I feel like a lot of my insecurities stem from like prior issues in my life, and I try to remind my brain of that and not hold those things, like hold Joseph accountable for those things. Like, I was in a really long, terrible relationship before him, and in the beginning he would always say like, hey, I didn't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'd be like, well, I am this way because of this. And he'd be like, well, I didn't do that. And I'm like, yeah, but my brain thinks you're gonna.
Like I feel like I've been 17 years in a relationship and I'm having to rewire my brain. Because I was in a bad, very toxic relationship. I was married in a very toxic marriage. And I'm still, to this day, even 9 years later, even though Mike has always shown up, he's never given me a reason to doubt him, I still have insecurities. Like, even yesterday, I was like, do you just not want to call me? Like, do you not want to talk to me? And he's like, I always want to talk to you, but I'm busy. Like, you know, I'm repainting, I'm doing things, you know? And, so I said, okay, you know, and he's like, don't do that. Like, I am not blank. He says my ex-husband's last name. I am not blank. I said, I know. I just need you to, I need.
Like, just say that sometimes.
Yeah. I just need the reassurance sometimes because I've been so hardwired to accept, terrible treatment and behavior that it's made me so insecure within myself and insecure in my relationship with Michael. So we're working. I mean, I'm still healing. I'm still growing from that. So yeah, I mean, it's just, I think this is what I do. This is how I handle it because I'm very insecure. I'll be honest. I'm very insecure, when it comes to relationships and loving and all that stuff. I bring it to Michael and we just talk about it. And I don't start yelling. I don't say negative things. I just say, this is how I am feeling right now. And, you know, why, like, do you not want to talk to me? And, you know, I just pose it as a question. And he's like, I don't want you feeling that way. That's, when I wake up, you're the first person I want to talk to. If I get a chance to call you, I'm going to call you, you know, like, and it's
exactly.
Still,
it's knowing that.
Yeah.
It's rewiring your brain and knowing that, because it's hard to know that, because you might have been with someone who always would say that to you. Correct. And then prove you the opposite. And so it's literally just understanding that, like, they are actually in a place where they do have minimal control over their communication, but you know and trust that they'll reach out to you when that they can, and following through with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's the last question I have. Do you have one more, huh?
Oh, yes.
This is a big one. This is a big one.
It's a big one. I will say that they did follow it up with respectfully I ask with a heart, so I'll say that that's why we are answering this. This is a question and something that I feel like if you have been a prison wife for a long amount of time and if your husband has taken someone's life that you've probably had thrown in your face before. We were asked if someone was to kill your son or your dog and was sentenced to death row, will you forgive them? I think that this is a really hard question to answer because I think that, there are so many questions that come with this whole what if statement. And I understand that it was being asked respectfully, but I think that this is where I come back to with a lot of people that are against people on death row or people that have LWOP sentences who have done murder use questions like this to try to trip us up or to try to make us feel bad or make us feel some kind of way. And it's like, I don't think people understand fully that we do feel, we have all kinds of compassion for lives that were taken. Like our husbands, I talk about this all the time, that my husband lives with the mistake he made. He has to wake up every day. He has nightmares about the things that he did. It's not something that he did and he's like, hell yeah, I did that. You know what I mean? Like he lives with this every day and I can't imagine, the pain that is. And he now takes it and reworks his brain to use it in a way that he's like, well, I want to honor these lives now and I want to do better and rehabilitate myself to do better. So, to ask us if someone was to kill my son, and they were put on death row, would I forgive them? I mean, it's hard not to take something like this offensive because it's like you're talking about, my child. I understand that all victims were someone's child too, but it doesn't change my stance on the death penalty. And I don't think that changes my love for my son or my love for my husband or my love for and want for justice. I also, you know what I mean? Like people think that because we are criminal justice reform people that we are like, we don't believe in justice. And it's like, no one's saying that. Like no one is saying you should murder someone and be fucking out on the street.
Yeah.
Like no one's saying
a free card. Yeah.
We're saying take every fucking case and situation as it is and move forward like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like a hard question to answer. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'm going to say this. I told my parents this. I know the question is about Gustavo, obviously, but I told my parents if someone kills me as a living person right now, I'm telling you, I do not want them to get the death penalty.
Oh, period. I agree.
Please do not seek the death penalty on my behalf because I would not want that. I know it's easy for us to say this here because we haven't been impacted. We've been impacted on the other side in a sense. We feel empathy for the victims' families, for any victim's family, and we might even be victims of crimes ourselves. So I feel that. I personally, if someone killed my child or Gustavo being my child, I will sit here and say that I would not want them to have the death penalty. I would fight against that.
Which many victims' families do.
Correct. I don't believe in the death penalty.
Yes.
I don't think killing to prove killing is wrong is the right action. Two wrongs don't make it right. Now forgiveness, I'll be honest. I would not be able to forgive right away. It would take time for me.
That's the part that
I do believe in forgiving people, not forgetting, forgiving people, because to hold on, listen, I didn't want to say this here, but I'm going to say it because it is a pivotal moment in my life. Someone did something horrible to me when I was 15 years old. I hated them my entire life. And it wasn't until I talked to Michael about it. I wrote him, and we weren't even talking on the phone at this point. I wrote him a letter explaining everything that happened. And my parents, my mom's going to find out. She doesn't even know. She had clues, but she didn't know for sure. But it took me a long time to forgive this person. It took from 15 to 30 fucking 3. Finally, I said, I can't hold on to this anymore. And I talked to God and I said, I forgive him. I forgive him. I don't forget what happened. I'll never forget what happened. It changed my whole life. It made me want to unalive myself. You know, being real here. I'm being real. I'm being raw and real here. But it's to hold on to that hate. It kills your soul. It kills your heart. I'm not saying you can't hurt still. It still hurts. It hurts right now to talk about it, but it also was a major moment in my life where I was like, if I'm going to go down this road with Michael, I have to learn to forgive people.
You know, I just wonder how many of us have stories exactly like yours, Gigi, because like you're saying that, and I have I won't even go into detail as much as you did, but I have a similar situation like that. And I wonder how many of us in this situation have gone through those situations and are able to come out the other end as a bigger person, forgiving and understanding that people are people. Like, I wonder how many of us are like that. And that's why we are where we are.
Yeah. And just so you know, this person never got arrested, never went to jail, never had anything. He looked great on paper. This is when I say people look great on paper should be in prison. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm just saying that hate, like I'm going to quote Martin Luther King because he said it best. Hate is too great a burden to bear. I'm not saying that everybody's entitled to feel how they feel about certain things. If someone killed Gustavo, I would have hate in my heart. I would. I'm not going to lie. But
I think so many things matter. Like it's another blanket question where it's like how we're saying criminal justice and criminal case, like things need to be looked at specifically for what happened. So it's like to even say forgiveness. I don't even know what happened in this fake crime to like say like if I would you know what I mean? Like
was it like did they get hit by a car or was it intentional? I'm assuming if they're on death row, it shows intent.
Like I can't even dive into your hypothetical until I even know the details of your hypothetical. So you know what I mean? I think it really just goes back to what you said. Like,
I know, but I'm just going to say, if somebody intentionally killed my dog on purpose, I would be angry. I would be furious. I would be filled with rage. You know how I get. I would want it to see them punished. I get it. But I first of all, I wouldn't have them be on death row. That's just my personal belief. And I wouldn't forgive them right away. That's my honest answer. In time, I would plan to. That would be my hope. That I would, I'm sorry, moving out the sun, that I would be able to forgive them. It may take 18 years. It may take a long time, but I can't hold on to that hate. I just can't.
I want to share just that. There's actually even a video of it on YouTube. During Joe's like the sentencing where they got to have like victims impact statements and everything. I can even tell you because of like the victims that were still around from his crime who knew Joseph prior to his crime and knew him as a person, that even at that sentencing, the main victim literally said that she forgives him and that she hopes one day he can forgive himself. Yeah. And I I cannot even say what, like, I've watched that video one time in my life. I've never watched it again. And even just talking about it right now gives me chills because that woman, I commend her. And I don't, the amount of strength and, you know, healing to be able to like say that publicly at like a hearing is crazy. But I also think it speaks to, you know, her knowing his character and, you know, that they didn't want him on death row, which is another reason why it wasn't fought and taken to that point.
Yeah. I would not wish anybody, I don't wish anybody to die. I would never wish that. And I mean, it just shows her heart and her soul and the beauty that she has. And she has every right. She has every right to say,
fuck
fuck you. You took everything away from me. She has every right to say that.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows what kind of person she is because she knows Joe. Obviously, she knows what kind of person he is. And he's more than just this, obviously, this mistake. While this mistake is tragic and it's horrible, but, you know, I just think forgiveness is something we need to do, not for the other person.
For yourself.
For yourself.
You don't deserve to carry that burden.
Correct. All right. I hope that answers that question. I try to be as, you know, transparent as more transparent than I probably wanted to be on that. But, you know, I'm not going to get into details of stuff.
That's the reality of a lot of, you know what I mean? And like, I've never talked or said anything publicly about things I've gone through either. And it's just like, sometimes you just kind of got to put it out there for people to understand that we're not just talking out of our ass. Like we've also been through hard, shitty situations where we've had to face the question, do I forgive this person? Am I going to live with this hate in my heart?
Yeah. Well, that's all I have. I know we have a meme of the week coming. So we'll have that for you today. So check our Instas. And I'm kind of ending it kind of crazy. But I guess, I don't know. I do have a tea time story, but I think I'm going to do it on Patreon. So I'll save it for episode 15 on Patreon.
We've been pumping out some good Patreon episodes.
I feel like I have some really juicy tea too. So
maybe we'll have to do that then.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming along on the journey with us. Sorry, we went on. Sorry, not sorry. I'm going to say that. Sorry, not sorry. We went on a rant a little bit, but we're passionate about stuff. We feel that some things are not heading in the right direction. And, you know, these are our opinions and not saying you have to agree with our opinions. But this is how we feel. This is how we see it. And like I said, you know, hopefully, you know, we can just share our thoughts and maybe even if you don't agree with everything, you might have said, okay, well, I can see your point there. You know what I mean? Like, I get why you say that. So,
and I hope that if you don't agree with us, you didn't close out and you might still even be listening. And if so, I hope. Hi, and thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for showing up every week, being here, commenting, sharing, all of the things.
Reviewing. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for the reviews, y'all. And we love you guys. And, you know, we missed you guys last week. I was going to say, like, I got so many messages like, I miss you. It's Wednesday. I miss y'all. So, we love you guys so much. Just know that. And, you know, we look at things in the perspective of what's best for everybody, not just a certain few. So I want to say that, like, I love each and every one of y'all. You know, even if you don't agree with me, I will still love you as a person, as a human being. I love you.
And we're still here on this journey.
Yeah.
Even if we don't have the same thoughts.
Yeah. I still love you guys. So love you guys. And we hope you have a great rest of your week. And we'll be back next week and join us on Patreon for some tea time, darling. Pinky up. Pinky up. All right, guys. Well, have a great week. Love you. Besitos.
Bye, friends. Love y'all.